What up, world? It's your boy JusRzd, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Soul. Today, we're gonna do something a little different. You know what I mean? Shout out to my homie Bill B. He's a rapper, he's a father, he's a husband. He's also starting up on YouTube. He has a channel called Divine Dialogue. Subscribe to that channel. The link will be in the description. But on his channel, he did a video talking about his musical influences. So today, I actually wanted to have a conversation about musical influences because I'm always asked that question anytime I'm just out and about meeting new people, or anytime we're having music-related conversations, or anytime I'm up for an interview or anything like that with different media outlets. They always ask me what my musical inspiration is, because my sound is very soulful, it's very R&B soulish, jazz soulish, hip-hop soulish. It's gonna have some soul in there. I'm Mr. FreeSoul for a reason, you feel me? But I wanted to have a conversation about musical influences. So today, we're gonna talk about my top 5 musical influences. So off top, number 1, my number 1 musical influence. For me personally, when it comes to music, when we're talking about the origins of music, just entering into my life, I grew up I'm the baby of 8 kids. So my mom had me when she was 37. So most of my first cousins are like way older than me. they're like way older than me. They're like in their 50s, almost 60s. So I'm not that old. I'm still in my 30s. So it's interesting to me. I remember my first introduction to music in general was in church, of course. Growing up in church, growing up in a Christian household, it was gospel through and through. My mama didn't play that. We couldn't listen to no secular music unless it was like Michael Jackson. Unless it was like some soul for a positive R&B, but even that, it was a limit. You feel me? It was gospel through and through. You talking about Helen Baylor, you talking about the Winans, you talking about James Cleveland, you talking about Kurt, Fred Hammond, Yolanda Adams, all that. So I grew up on all that. On top of, I vividly remember trips to the beach with my aunt and my cousin and my sister. I grew up with my mother's side of the family. So it was my mom, myself, and my sister. And my sister's like almost 8.5 years older than me. So she, being the oldest, it was only 2 of us, but being the oldest, she of course ends up turning into my babysitter. So if we home from school, you know what I mean, she watching something on MTV or BT, we watching something from MTV or BT. So a lot of my musical tastes and my musical interests were piqued from the different stuff that she was into and liked watching, and that's low-key how I was introduced into hip-hop. But I vividly remember going to the beach with my cousin and with my sister and my aunt, bringing a boombox, playing like old school 70s and 80s R&B. So we talking Earth, Wind and Fire, we talking the Isley Brothers, we talking Anita Baker, we talking Gladys Knight, we talking all these different people. Just all these different people. And I vividly remember growing up on like gospel music and old school R&B. And then, of course, being in the 90s, I remember growing up on 90s R&B and the different girls groups and guys groups. And then being introduced to hip-hop through Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff, Wu-Tang Clan, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, all these different artists, Nas, Jay-Z, Timbaland and Magoo, Missy, Aaliyah, Genuine, like all these different artists that came of age in the 90s. So when we talk musical inspirations, there's a lot of people who inspired me to fall in love with music and inspired me even in making music today. A lot of my influences aren't even like current artists. There are some current artists that are inspiring to me, that inspired me to do other things creatively and stretch myself creatively and stretch the pen. And I might even talk a little bit about that as well, but I don't want to hold y'all too long. So we're going to get right into the #1 influence for me musically. What up, Blerd? It's your boy JusRzd, and it's a new week, so it's a new single dropping this Friday. I'm gonna tell you the name after we play the snippet. Oh, no, no. Even though I might trip, and even if you see me slip, no, I ain't never gon' quit. I ain't never gon' switch. Even when they actin' strange, trying to throw dirt on my name, no, I ain't never gon' quit. I ain't never gon' switch. See, this particular record was super fun to create. It's another collab with my homie Weezy Satellite Kid, and the song is titled I Ain't Never Gone. It's a dope, flip, soulful, hip-hop record. It reminds me of something. I remember when, shout out to Stilla Kid, he produced it. I remember when he sent me the beat, it reminded me of some Slum Village, Dwelle type of vibes. And I was just like, yo, this joint crazy. I'm about to go crazy on this joint. It's funny because he didn't even want to send it to me. It was just a throwaway record for him. But when I heard it, I was just like, yo, send me that. Like, let me get that up off you. And I remember laying my verse down, laying the hook down, sending it to the homie Weez, and he was like, yo, this tough. Let's have fun on it. So I ain't never gone. This Friday, let me know in the comments below if y'all rocking with it. Stay tapped in. In the description below is going to be a link to the actual pre-save for the record. So that way you'll be able to pre-save the record. And stay tapped in. It drops this Friday. Talking September 13th. And stay tapped in with your boy. New music is steadily on the way. Like I said, it's FreeSoul fall, baby. Let's tap in. Let's get it. For me personally, Outcast is my #1 musical influence. And I just I love how Outcast just their production, their sound, their creativeness, the way they wrote. They're both, not only are they the best hip-hop duo ever to exist, but they both had different approaches and different writing styles when it came to hip-hop. Big Boy was like very fast-paced. Both of them phenomenal MCs, phenomenal artists. But they were both. Big Boy had a more faster-paced pen and had different cadences and flows. 3 Stacks, of course, was very thought-provoking. So was Big Boy as well, depending on the subject. And I don't know, 3 Stacks was different, but he was always tough. At first, early on in Outkast's career, it didn't seem like people were really paying attention to what 3 Stacks was saying because his antics, his costumes and stuff like that were always seemed to overtake what he was actually saying when it came to them rapping. So a lot of times early on, from what I saw, everybody was bigging up Big Boy at first, and then as they started to develop more as people and got older as artists, people started to notice 3 Stacks more, and he started to do more features, and they realized, oh nah, 3 Stacks was cooking, but he always was cooking. But anyway, my #1 musical influence is Outkast. I probably should have did this backwards, but since I started with #1, we're gonna go all the way down to 5. My number 2 and 3 are neck and neck. They like right beside each other. I could probably swap them out, either or. But my number 2 and 3, the Isley Brothers and Kirk Franklin. I gotta give it to them too because, man, the Isley Brothers, first of all, their catalog is massive. And they've been sampled more times than I think any other group, maybe Earth, Wind & Fire. But I think the Isley Brothers holds the title as the most sampled artists ever. When it comes to like hip hop and when it comes to different musical flips and stuff like that, it's just so many songs that they did. So many songs. You had the instrumentation was beautiful. And then of course you had the vocal stylings of Ron Isley, which were phenomenal. And just man, Living for the Love of You is still to this day, still one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, it's just a beautiful song. Drifting on the memory. Ain't no place I'd rather be than with you. My voice is a little hoarse, but forgive me. The song is just beautiful. It's tough. And Kurt is the GOAT of gospel. What can we say? He is the GOAT of gospel. Like, it's not even up for debate. Kurt Franklin is the GOAT of gospel. Songwriting, phenomenal. Composing, phenomenal. Kurt Franklin and the Family, God's Property, New Nation, phenomenal. It's Kurt, man. It's Kurt. He's phenomenal. He gonna give you them dance moves. He gonna give you that songwriting. He's gonna give you that composing, and it's gonna be beautiful. And to this day, he's remained relevant over a 30 to 40 year career in music. Like, that's crazy. Number four. I already told y'all my top 5 musical influences are all over the place. But number 4, I gotta give it to Nas. We started out with Outcast, then we went to the Isley Brothers, then we went to Kurt Franklin. Nas. Number 4, Nas. Nas, specifically Nas. I was always a Nas fan over JC just because I always loved the way Nas rapped. He always rapped like he was trying to teach you something. And I just always loved that about Nas. Like, you listen to his records, you be like, yo, this dude talking, bro. He over here killing it. The multi-syllable raps, the rhymes. He ain't gonna give you the best production until recently when he got with Hit Boy. But he ain't gonna, you know what I mean? His catalog don't have the best production. But you talking about his songwriting, Illmatic, he dropped that at such a young age, and it's still a classic to this day. People still talk about Illmatic to this day. And he dropped that, I want to say when he was like 16, 17, or 18. I can't remember exactly what year, but I want to say it was 16. But, bro, Nas, and for me, when it comes to like hip hop and R&B type of influences, like I said, I grew up in a very, very, very strict Christian household. So my mom didn't play that. You wasn't about to be buying no secular songs or no secular CDs and stuff like that and playing them in my house. So a lot of the catalogs that I got to partake in were because of my sister, and whatever CDs or whatever music. Yeah, I grew up in the CD era. So whatever CDs, whatever tapes, whatever music she bought in the house, and then whatever music we would watch on TV together. And so I never really got to see like people's full albums. With Outcast, I did. But with like a lot of other people, I never got to see their full bodies of work until I got grown. So like with Nas, I ain't really get to see his full body of work until I got grown. So Outcast, I actually got to see it because my sister bought Outcast CDs. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to my sister. I love you, girl. So I gotta go Nas, number 4. It's not even close. And I loved his approach. I loved his lyrical ability. I always loved listening to rap and learning something, whether it was a new word, whether it was new cadences, whether it was new flow patterns, whether it was just the way you like slid on the beat or whatever. Like, I just always liked seeing and being introduced to new things when it came to rap. And so Nas for me is number 4. Like, it's not even close. And number 5, number 5 in my top 5. This might shock you. It may not though. I don't know. D'Angelo. Number 5 is D'Angelo. Like, hands down. Like, what are we talking about? He was so creative, instrumentation, crazy. The way he was like neo soul before neo soul was a thing. Like, you talk about Brown Sugar, you talk about Lady. Like, what are we talking about? Brown sugar, babe. I get high off the love, don't know how to behave. Like, come on, dog. Brown Sugar. Wasn't until I was grown that I realized Brown Sugar, he was talking about weed. But I could have sworn he was talking about a woman. I did not know he was talking about weed. But lady, you're my lady. Like, come on, dog. You're my lady. Like, I don't know. It's just it was just a dope experience to see his catalog, to see the different hits he would drop, the instrumentation in them, see his live performances. I never got to actually go to a concert of his, but just to see the different opportunities where they showed his live performances on TV and stuff like that. And just to see, real talk, outside of the video, because the video was wild. But Untitled, how does it feel? That song is crazy. That song is fire. Video, he was doing a lot, but the song was fire. So yeah, number 5, I gotta go D'Angelo. So my particular top 5, we got Outcast, we got the Isley Brothers, we got Kirk Franklin, we got Nas, and we got D'Angelo. So those are 5 people that vastly influenced my musical journey and my music to this day. So when people, it's funny because people always compare me to current artists or try to compare me to current artists. They're like, yo, you sound like Smino, or you sound like Smino a little bit, or you sound like Mick Jenkins, or you sound like JID. I don't feel like I sound like those people, but when I listen to those artists, I hear influences of an Outcast. I hear influences of different artists that I actually look up to. So it's always a dope experience to see who people try to claim that I sound like, and if I've even listened to them or even heard of their music. Because a lot of times people will throw people out there and I'll be like, I don't know who that is. But I've become more aware of different artists and stuff like that. But those are my top 5 musical influences. Let me know in the comments below if you were rocking with any of those influences, and who your musical influences are. Let's comment below. Let's have a conversation. Let's chop it up. But yeah, like I said, I didn't want to be too long-winded, but my top 5 musical influences, there you have it. Let's get to it. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified the next time that we actually drop a video on this channel. And stay tapped in, and never forget, it's FreeSoul to the show free. Let's get it.